Hey, good morning. Jim Sunderwirth here from the swing again. And yesterday was so fun. I talked about so much where Moses was there before the sea, and the children were there, and 3 million of them, and Pharaoh behind him. And he looked, and they were all afraid. And he said, "Be still." Look at what he said. He said, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." And then I talked about him, and then the Lord looked at him and said, "Why are you crying to me?" And then I told you the story. I kind of had that same experience. But then let's go on here. This is in 13 of chapter 14. It says, "Stand still and see the favor of the Lord. He will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you will not see them ever again. And the Lord will fight for you and shall hold your peace." And then the Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry unto me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. Move ahead." There's so many times we forget that the beauty is in the future. It's so easy to look at the past. It's so easy. We get bogged down in our bad past or our good past. It is. I mean, sometimes we find our identity in our testimony, not because of, look what God is doing in my life, but we settle on looking what God did or what God didn't do, and then we look at our past, and we get so bogged down that our past, whether it be a good past or a bad past, we can have a great past and say, "Oh, the good old days. Oh, I have to be careful with it because I love old cars, and it takes me back in my past, and I sit there, but I don't get lost in that past because it's a ministry, and I enjoy the fellowship of bringing the good hope to that body of people. But the thing is, I could get really lost in the past when I grew up. I grew up in the best years of best years in America, I believe. Those years I'm not going to tell you what year it was. Anyways, it was way back there. But it was and I could get lost in the goodness of, oh, I wish it was like yesterday. I wish it was this or that. Or, people get locked up in their bad past. But if you're not careful, you get stuck in the past, and your past will rob you of your future. Think about Lot's wife. You just think about that. God told Abraham to go, and that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And when he said, "Get out," and when Lot came out with his family and his wife, she looked back with longing and was turned into a pillar of salt. She looked back. Sometimes looking back can stop us and paralyze us from the future. Can you see that? And it's really, really true. So he said, "I want you to move on." He said, "I want you to lift up that rod, put it over there, and I want these people to go through." So we have to understand that Jesus himself said in Luke 9:62, he said, "Any man that puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not worthy of the kingdom." In other words, now don't get me wrong, it's okay to look back, celebrate birthdays and celebrate anniversaries and celebrate. That's great. You do that, but you don't hook your life as a hitching post and not move away from that. You've got to look forward to what God has got in the future for you. So don't put your hand. He said, don't put your hand to the plow and look back, because if you do, I know one thing. Now, I'm not a farmer, never been a farmer, but I've been around them. And I remember one guy told me, I asked him, I said, "How can you make a straight row every time for this?" He said, "You know what I do?" He said, "I put my eye down at the end of the field, and I find either a fence post or a tree, and I never take my eyes off of it, and I never look back." He said, "Because if I look back thinking, I wonder how my row's going, my row will mess up." Can you imagine trying to drive a car looking in the rearview mirror all the time? Impossible. You're due for an accident. So he said, we got to put our hand to the plow and we look forward. We learn from the past. Better learn from it. You're bound to repeat it. But you look to the future with an experience of your past. But you look at the goal. I got to read something to you. And it's called. And Paul said these words. It was in Ephesians, the 3rd chapter. He said, "That I might know him, the power of his resurrection, the fellowship of his suffering, being conformable to his death, and by any means that I might attain to the resurrection. Not that I've already attained, or am perfect, but I press on I press on that I may lay hold of that which Christ has also laid hold for me. In other words, God has a plan for your life. It's a good plan. He didn't want you looking back. He said, I want you to look with hope. Keep your eyes on me, as I'm the beginner and I am the finisher of your faith. Brethren, I do not count myself as apprehended, but one thing I do. He was focused, forgetting those things that which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. I press toward the goal of the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. Therefore, let us, as many as are mature, have this mind to look forward. Oh, listen, your greatest days are ahead. I don't care how old you are or how young you are. If you trust God and keep your eyes upon Jesus and not let the past grab a hold of you, but say, Lord, I'll follow you wherever you want me to go, it's going to be a continually exciting life. Hey, that's great. Let's go with Jesus. Let's move on. Let's don't move back, okay? See you tomorrow.